many of you kids in here have ever tasted it before? You're going to raise your hand for that one. I'm glad. But you know what, though? You have to make yourself. Force yourself to do it. And you know what? After you get about 3 or 4 cases down, you start killing your taste buds and stuff. And you know what I'm going to tell you? Then it ain't too bad anymore. But then you know what it leads to? Ask my dad. His uncle got him on it. I remember driving around through Mount Pleasant, Jimmy, right across there by your mom, right down the hill there, and it's gravel. Every day after school, my dad would go to the border and buy a quart of Miller. A quart. That's what he started on, a quart of Miller. And we'd go around Mount Pleasant. Me and Ralph throwed every rock on that road off in the woods. Because we was out there every day after school. Because my dad, you know what he was doing? The devil was getting my dad used to drinking. And his uncle got him in it. You know what he did? He drank that quart of beer. And I can remember it still to this day. He said, hey, Tom, he said, pour me some of that cup. Don't get it foamy. A 5-year-old kid ain't going to foam the beer up. Foam running outside of it. I said, here. You know, I'd hand it to you. God, man, he said, I told you not to be that foamy. And you know what? And I can still remember it today. But you know what he did, though? He graduated from the court. And then Jimmy started getting a 6-pack. Then he went from the 6-pack to a 12-pack. And then he drunk that for a little while. And you know what, my uncle, he done on hard stuff. So you know what, then my dad went from beer to hard liquor. Pretty quick. He didn't drink beer anymore much. He drank the hard stuff. Because I remember going hunting before. And my uncle and them, they go down here to the bootlegger. And they get a whole pile of booze. I'm talking them half gallons of Evan Williams and Wild Turkey and all this and everything else in the world. And they get a whole bunch of that stuff. And they go over there and we go deer hunting. And I can remember, you know what I'm going to tell you about the 3rd day, my uncle say, boys, we're going to have to cut back. He said, we're almost out. And they had enough that's supposed to leave to last them a week. It lasted 3 days. He said, man, we're going to have to make a run. You know what I'm going to tell you? And I sit here and watch these old guys like this right here. And they're sitting here taking a pie pan full of cigarette butts and ashes. And he's trying to get it out the bus door. We had a bus or a camper. He's doing this right here and they're shaking everywhere. They're going all over the place. Time he gets to the door, there's about 2 left in it. Oh, blankety blank, he throws it out the door. Because you know why? He's so messed up he can't even, because he's already a full-blown alcoholic. My dad said, man, look at him. Dad, yeah, take a picture because that'll be you. And it was. He laid out there by a fire and the snow on the ground and they put a blanket over the top of him and left him laying there. I don't know how he lived. You remember that? Yeah. He left him laying there in the snow. But you know how that man got there? Just like my dad did. 1 beer. And you kids in here, you know what? And you hear Dave say this before and you think, well, I ain't doing this. You're going to do the same thing. Before you sit here and get the crack pipe out and get the meth pipe out, you know what you do? You know where it starts at? It's when you're in school and somebody rolls up a little joint and you go back there behind the bleachers and puff on it and you sit there and get high. That's where it starts at. But you know what? The devil will never tell you where it ends at, with a crack pipe or a meth pipe, and you're sitting here messed up, and your whole life is just nothing but drugs. That's all you think of when you wake up. It's the only thing you're thinking of when your eyes close for the last time that night. But you don't believe it. Because you see, a lot of these false prophets and a lot of these preachers stuff, they don't care about you. They don't care where you're headed. They don't care if your life's this and that. You know what it is? They see people come through the church doors and they're like, God, man, I hope they don't stay here long. I hope they don't come back. That's the way a lot of preachers, that's the way they are. Brother, they don't want you to come. They'd rather see you bless God's steadfast house and rot. Because you know what? They don't want to have to deal with you. You see, I ain't ashamed to be associated with them. Because Jesus Christ sat down and ate with publicans and sinners. Because that's who he came to save, with people like me. And you know what? If you ain't very careful, the devil will fool you into believing these Jehovah's Witnesses ain't bad people. Amen to army. Hey, good guys. Amen. They make some mean jelly. Amen. You get beside the road and everything, I'm telling you, man, they grow some good food. Yeah, and you know what they do? Most of them, they buy it down here at the farmer's market. They figure people out. You know what? They're like my dad. You know how Kellogg's cornflakes got the big rooster on the box? My dad wouldn't eat no other cornflakes but Kellogg's. But they were twice as high as the cheap ones. So what did my mom do? She's smarter than my dad in a lot of ways. What'd she do? She'd take the rooster box and she'd pour the cheap cornflakes in the rooster box and fold it down and set it up there. And my dad never did know the difference. Amen. Never did know the difference. And you know what? That's what the devil does to you. Because you know, I ain't going nowhere before they preach the truth. And you know what I'm going to tell you? But all Satan does is just take his lies out of the box and put it in the rooster box. Man, that preacher boy, he preaches good. Man, I like that guy, don't you? Man, he's a good fella. And I'm telling you one thing right now, when I go hear him, and I leave there feeling good. The only problem is you're a hell-bound sinner going to hell. But you feel good. You don't feel too bad. But you know what I'm going to tell you? If you're a sinner, you're going to hell. That's just the bottom line. And I'm telling you this. You can deceive the simple-minded. Because you see, my dad was simple and kindly in a lot of ways because he pickled his brain for 31 years in alcoholism. But you know what, though? Satan's pickled a lot of your all's brains. And you know what I'm going to tell you? And there's people they'll just sound so good. But you got to be born again. You ain't getting heaven any other way. Right. They'll put it up to that in their doctrine and stuff to make you fool you and everything else in the world. And you just get into that. Listen to me. A lie. A lie. Read the Word. You better realize I'm telling you one thing right now, church. Because you know what? And I know these two don't care for me saying this. And they're coming on. And I thank God for them, this brother and sister here. But do I ever cut you any slack? Because you know why? Because I love you. I love you. And I ain't ashamed to associate with you. And you know what? And this is what I'm going to tell you. But you realize one. But they know the truth. You ain't getting heaven one way. You got to be born again. Right. Amen. But you know what? There's people that don't care about you. They don't love you. They don't care one bit about you. If they can get you in a pew all the time and get your name on a church roll, get you up there and baptize you, that's the only thing to care about. Because you know why? Because they're in the gainsaying of Korah. You said, well, what's in the gainsaying of Korah? Korah was a man against Moses. And he said, Moses, has God only spoke through you? And you know what? And Moses said, listen to me, Korah. He said, you're taking too much upon yourself, you sons of Levi. He said, did God not choose you and let you draw near to Him to take care of the tabernacle and all this? He said, you want the priesthood too? Because you see, they ain't satisfied. You know what they want? They want to be top dog. Right. That's what they want. They want to be top dog. But God destroyed them. But He said, you'll perish in the gainsaying of Korah. But I'm going to tell you something right now. All most people care about is just as long as the house is full. Or priest or cuts out. I went to a church one time, this is the truth. And he asked me to come preach. And I said, well, I'll pray about it. Sometime I'll come. So I went. And so help me, there was 30 people there. You say 30 people. Yeah, there was 30 people there. That's the most been in that church, bless God. And I tell you, since they started passing the chicken out over there when I was a kid at homecoming. But there was 30 people there. And I noticed as soon as I come in there and he seen me and he seen all these people come through the door, he's wishing he hadn't told me that. Because you know what? And this is what he did. Man, he was all smiles and everything. He was shaking people's hands and doing all this. And he was trying to preach a message and do all this and that. And he couldn't put A and B together. And he got up there and finally he said, Brother Tommy, he said, you got something? I said, yeah. And you know what? And I preached to that congregation of people. And you said, what? Listen to me. What does it matter? What does it matter? And you know what? I just told them what them people that was there needed to hear. And it didn't make no difference to me. Do whatever you want to with it. Well, you and God. Just preached my burden and left. The church. If you want to tell your people, tell them the truth. Amen. Do it in love, but tell them the truth. Jesus always told the truth. Go and sin no more. lest the worst thing come unto thee. He said, listen, I healed you. And he said, I restored you whole. But he said, now listen, don't you go back out there and start living your life the way you did. Are you hearing me?